What a spectacular first day. What a spectacular end to the first day of the major championships here, the World Championships in Budapest. We witnessed both, I think, unexpected and unexpected results. Notably, we saw a championship record in the shot put by the big man himself, Ryan Krauser, with blood clots in his head, in his leg. An Ethiopian clean sweep in the 10,000 meters after Sifan Hassan looked in pole position to win gold, maybe at the very least silver. The United States sets a world record in the mixed 4x4 relay after Femke Bol comfortably, I thought, was in the lead. She fell similar to Sifan Hassan. And then we have Oblique Seville, fastest time and potentially most comfortable 100-meter heats heading into the semis. All of this and more as we review day one on Sports Talk Tech. Get your comments in, your questions, hit that like button, and let's go. I want to thank you for joining me, and it's time to discuss all the things that happened today. All right. So let's start with the 10,000 meter final. That's the first track event we had, final event, the women's 10,000 meters. Who saw that coming? I just can't believe what we saw just now. Who saw it coming? One of the all-time greats, the former world record holder, looking around, losing form. Her balance went off, I think, and she gave away the lead, flat on the ground. That's a certain gold medal that the Netherlands had. The Ethiopians take a clean sweep. What really happened? You know, Sifan Hassan, you just don't expect this from Sifan Hassan. Obviously, she's fell on the track before, but that was because she was tumbling with other people, if you remember what happened in Tokyo. But you don't expect a Sifan Hassan leading to just give it away like that. Clearly, there was pressure coming from Tsegay, but she was looking to her inside, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. I just really don't know what to say. And I've been discussing this. I've been talking about this all this time, whether or not Sifan was taking on too much of a load. In my mind, this was her best chance to win the gold medal. She ran the 1,500 meters this morning, looked comfortable, made it into the semifinal. She had a less time to rest than she would normally have because of the rain delay. But she goes in the final, runs her typical race, and she finds her way with 800 meters to go in a good position, takes the lead. And I just really don't know. It's a bad night for the Netherlands. We'll get to that as well. But I really feel it for Sifan because you could see her face. She was in shock. She was smiling. I don't think she was smiling because she was happy. It was definitely, she just couldn't believe what was happening. But we must say many congrats to Gudaf Tsegay. You know, she won in a time of 31:27:18. I thought that we would have gotten sub 30 for the women. Didn't happen. A sub 31 for sure. Then, you know, world record holder Guidi second, and Tei coming third. And so the Ethiopians take a clean sweep. And I never thought, even with this kind of a workload, that Sifan Hassan would not be on the medal podium. And so it's a tough one. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Let me get to a couple comments. I see all in the game here. I see St. Clair. Really appreciate you on the channel. Let me switch to a few comments here. Didn't trust our kick / fitness. Bad night for the Dutch. Yeah, definitely. We'll get into the mixed 4x4 in a second. Yeah. And, you know, you're right. Sifan from 2 years ago, Tokyo destroyed Tsegay with that kick. So there's something there. I think, you know, we often see this in the long distance, the middle to long distance. And at some point, that's when they really move up to the marathon. And we saw Sifan this year at London Marathon, so maybe she's getting to that point where she just doesn't have that kind of speed. But I really feel it for her. What is St. Clair saying here? Who's working Obi on the Dutch? They just keep tripping over themselves. Exactly, you know. I think my wife would say, she's from Trinidad, they probably need a sea bath. I think Jamaicans say that too in some way. But they need to change the location of the camp. This is not good, but we'll get into the mixed 4x4 in a second. But all in all, I thought it was a good 10,000 meter run, fitting, you know, a lot of drama, not the kind of drama you want to see at a major championship. But this is what happens. And the Ethiopians are smiling. They collect all the medals. And sadly for Sifan, nothing. She still has the 5,000 meters to come. And I think she'll be working hard in the 1,500 meters. Definitely won't be able to compete for the gold there. And if you're going to rely on a serious kick, as All in the Game just mentioned, I really don't think we will see that. All right. So that's where we're going to go. Thank you again for joining me. And, you know, don't forget to hit the like button. That way other people know that we're going live. And I'm going to try to go live again tomorrow, twice. And then we'll see what happens for the rest of the week. And definitely we'll end the weekend next week on a high, going live twice again. And so there's a lot of exciting things to happen at this championship. And it's off to a great start. You know, we've lost some important people, and we can talk about that if you want. But whatever you want to talk about, and I know a lot of you woke up early to watch the race walk and to watch the morning session. And so, you know, it's good on you to be around here. All right. So if the 10,000 meters was spectacular, I believe we've witnessed something tonight in the men's shot put final that we will cherish for years to come. Mr. Cowboy Hat himself, take a bow. It's an unbelievable performance from Ryan Krauser. And before we get into the performance itself, I urge you to forget the gold medal. Forget the championship medal, the championship record twice, and approaching the world record, I think 5 cms off of it. Forget all of that. The thing that we have to think about, the thing that I was most pleased by, inspired by is probably the better word, is Krauser's sheer courage to compete. We just heard yesterday, major health scare for him. He's been battling some blood clots in his leg. And so it's a remarkable thing this year. It's one of the most remarkable things I've seen this year in sport, or maybe sport in general. And we can always assess those things. But his sheer courage to get up and do it. And I think he was quoted after in one of the post-race, one of the post-event interviews, and he was saying, this was a tough one. I had to quit thinking and just throw. And throw he did. He really did it tonight. I mean, just to think about the kind of advice he would have been getting from doctors when it comes to having a blood clot. One of the quickest things they tell you is to avoid travel, especially travel cross-continentally, right? I know he's probably in a nice business class seat where he can get his legs up and so on, but he's on these medications, blood thinners, you name it. And this is right before we get to the World Championships. But this is a guy that, I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And, you know, right out of the gate, championship record. Was it a championship record? I think right out of the gate. 22:63. No, it was 22:63 right out of the gate. Then he went to 22:98 to get that championship record, I think, on the second throw. And then comes back and gives us an unbelievable 23:51. Just like for fun. And it takes a lot of guts there, I think, to concentrate, to block out the kind of challenges that he must be suffering from. And so I really much congratulations to Ryan Krauser. Yeah, I see All in the Game is saying, Sid, take note. You're trying to get us into trouble tonight, All in the Game. But yeah, you know, Krauser shows up. He's a credit to the sport. One of the most important athletes for the sport of track and field in the last how many years. The greatest shot putter we've ever seen. This guy knows how to put on a series. If we could go back to the series he had at the US Championships in 21, the Tokyo series. When he's on it, we've never seen the like. And so I was really happy for that. The United States this time, as you know, didn't get a clean sweep. Josh Awotunde didn't make it into the final. Joe Kovacs found his way on the medal podium. 22-12. Big Joe is always important. He knows how to get it done. Tom Walsh in fourth, 22-05. We saw nothing from the Brazilian in the final. So throwing 22 meters, like, as you say, all in the game, rightly so, unnecessary. And this is part of the things when we think about managing major championships, when to give your best, when you know it's going to count, and so on. And yeah, he may have exerted himself. He could have taken that 22 meters this evening. But we'll get back to that. But also, I think what the shot put served us up today was another surprise, because I don't know if any of you, and if you did on your predictions, kudos to you, if we had the Italian Leonardo Fabri coming in second. This is a guy that showed up. 22:34 personal best. That's when you want to hit a personal best, in the finals of the World Championship. And so I was very intrigued by the shot put. I had it on separate screen, so I didn't miss a throw. I was going through it. I also was a little bit excited about it too. I really wanted to see what that Jamaican guy would have delivered. He didn't have a marker. Kept going over. I think on his Campbell, Ginger Campbell. Unfortunate for him, first major championship. Hopefully learn from this and come to the Olympics next year in a better position. But, and all in the game, you always have it right. People are getting carried away with Campbell getting a medal. I agree. You don't get up and just get to a medal like that. I mean, if Campbell was doing like 22 6 times for the year, then we would like, okay, we can see this. But this is a big stage. This is big man territory right here. Tom Walsh didn't even get on the medal podium. Right? They don't give out shot put medals like that. We know it, right? Big Peyton didn't get a medal either, right? It's not easy to do this. And it's one thing to pop out a massive throw. It's another to do consistency. And nobody does it like Cowboy had Krauser. But I think Campbell, there's something to work on. He kept going out. I don't know if he was slipping. I don't know what's happening. He's explosive. He's trying to be explosive. And I think the second foul one, it looked to me that it was over 21 meters, which would have given him an extra 3 throws. Unfortunate for the kid. But he has time, I imagine. So, but it was an exciting shot put final. And I enjoyed it very much. I hope you guys are doing it. Let me get to some comments here. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Let's see here. Good evening, Kim. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I'll get to the 100 meters in a little bit, so I'll save your comments there. You just watched Sifan's interview, and I must say she left me in a better place mentally. Could you give me some details on it? Because I didn't see I saw Femke Bol's interview, but I didn't see what Sifan said the last time I checked. So, let me know what she said in the interview and why you feel like she left you in a better place mentally. All right. So yeah, thanks again, everyone. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going live as often as possible during this championships. I'll be here again tomorrow. We all have to go to bed and get up early, and we can get into that. All right. And so let's go to the next final of the night, the last event. We'll start with the last event before we get into some of these 100 meters. I know a lot of people want to talk about 100 meters, and I'm here for it as well. And so let's talk about the mix relay. This was a ridiculous race and the second major catastrophe for the Netherlands tonight. Like I said, they need to find a way to wash that off. They need something. I don't know. I can't imagine two athletes of the caliber of Sifan Hassan and Femke Bol having almost the same issue, falling a few meters away from the finish line. Who would have thought? Imagine giving Femke Bol a lead in the 400 meters. I would have never thought that you could get back at her, particularly when we assess the season. So if we look at this season, she has the world indoor record over 400 meters. She's been running really well. She ran outdoor well as also. We know she's in sensational shape over the hurdles. Quite possibly will run a 51 low if she, and this might motivate her even more. But it was bad. She fell right there. And we must give credit to the United States. World record, 3 minutes, 0880. Robinson gives you a leg of 44.7. Second leg by Rosie at 45.13, I think. No, sorry, 50.30. I have that wrong. Matt Bowling, 45.13, which I thought he didn't do as well as he should have. But how about Alexis Holmes? Where did that come from? A 48-82 split. Simply outstanding. And I'll get to your comments in a second, everyone. And she brought that pressure onto Femke. Because I must say, it has to be pressure. She felt her coming. And I don't know, went swimming as well. Next thing we know, she's on the ground. The baton flies over the finish line. And the Netherlands are out. This squad didn't finish. I watched one of the post-race interviews, and Femke said she cramped up when Holmes came next to her. I don't know if cramp is the right word, but that's what she said. And then she said the next thing she knew, she was on the ground. She also felt a little lactic. But she said she felt great coming into the final. She had no signs of anything that would have impeded the run. So I wonder if it was just a mental thing. But it's certainly unfortunate. But the United States did very well. Let's get to some of your comments and let me know your thoughts on this. Let's see where we are. Let me just pull this over really quickly. We're, all in the game is saying Femke didn't run the mixed relay semis in 21 and 22, but ran both rounds here. This happened coincidence. I don't know, mate. I just don't know. I mean, when we look at the first round today, all in the game, I think she didn't have to do anything. It was very comfortable. She looked easy. She just carried around the baton. And in a way, she was in a similar position this evening. Because she has superior speed. Someone who can run a 44 low, potentially can go sub 40, a 49 low rather, potentially could run sub 49 in the future if this was something that you take up seriously. So you would imagine that there was no way Holmes could come down, and take her on. So there's some questions there that they have to think through. But yeah, I just don't see, especially the ease at which she ran that first leg. It was a walk in the park. So this evening, I wouldn't anticipate anything else. What else? Bowling ran the sixth fastest third leg split, but his stance, his stance are going crazy and ignoring it. Okay, I guess his fans, you mean? Sorry. Alexa split 48-82 split, which is why they won. Yeah, I think bowling leg was terrible. And I think he was about to get, he also knew it. He knew it. Even when they won, I saw him standing. I know he couldn't have felt as if he gave the United States what they needed there. And hadn't Femke had problems, then there was no way he would have walked away with the gold medal. Credit must also go to Great Britain. We can put back up the results really quickly if we can, because what we see from the British athletes is that they generally try to come here prepared. And so because of they did not finish for the Netherlands, they got second, and I think that's a creditable silver medal. They also have another national record, if I can see that clearly again. Czech Republic again getting up in the medals, and I could only imagine what the Jamaicans must be thinking after that performance this morning. I think they missed out. Yeah. And let me get what Kimon is saying again. What he said, when asked if running the 1500 meters affected her, she points to the Olympics where she fell in the 1500 meters in the morning and won the 10,000 meters in the evening. She isn't blaming anyone. Yeah. No, I think Sifan Hassan is a tough athlete. You don't get to this level. You don't even consider doing 3 events if you're not mentally tough, right? So it might just have been, I don't know. Sometimes the great ones, they aren't used to the kind of pressure because they are often out there. And sometimes when they do feel it, it can come on. And we're living in an era with some of the great women for 10,000 meters. Let's not forget this. The two world record holders in the event, and we're talking about Gudov Sigai, who potentially could break the world record again. So break the world record also. So you have to be at your best, and they can definitely do things, right? So hopefully she can rebound from this and focus on trying to get a medal over 1500 meters and 5,000 meters. I think it's going to be difficult in the 1500 meters to collect a medal. But if anybody could do it, it's Sifan Hassan. And I think she has a good chance as well to medal. Maybe something has to be done with this race strategy in terms of at what point she starts to open up. Because if she's going to rely on a kick, it's going to be problematic. And here all again with this ages thing. I'm joking. I agree with you. She'll be 31 soon. Track is a young person's game, especially when you're trying to do or cover a distance of, you want to double up on, triple up, not even double up, right? But I think Sifan has a long time left in the sport. As usual, we'll see her graduate to the marathons, and I suspect she'll do a lot of good things out there as well. Appreciate everyone joining me. This morning I did a live. If you didn't see the morning roundup, you can watch it after we're done. Additionally, if you want to bring back stuff from the morning, it's your show. Do whatever you want to do. Put your comments in. I know a lot of you are like silent watchers, and I'm okay with that. Smash that like button. But I want to hear from you. You know me. I definitely put your stuff up. And I as long as it's clean, it gets up on the screen and we talk about it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And, if I'm right, well, that's how it should be. So thanks again. So let's move on to what a lot of people want to talk about. The Blue Ribbon event, the men's 100 meters. We saw some preliminary rounds today. Credit to that guy from Guyana who's actually in the semifinal. So he's did well, but we get to that. But we saw a number of good times in the 100 meters. We're always expecting things to happen. And the first heat, we saw Zarnell Hughes, wins it in 10 flat, I think. I would say it's still concerning to me when it comes to the first part of the race. But he's in good nick. Looks very smooth in the end. He just worked his way into it. I thought Ford from Jamaica, Raheem Ford, had a good start. Looked very easy as well. And what I liked about Ford the most was his transition from start into his acceleration phase. He got into it beautifully, got up into the race. Kind of seemed like there's a lot left in the tank. So 10 0.01. There's no wind recorded there. I think it was a zero wind, 0 meters per second. And the Nigerian guy also got in, and also the guy from Poland. So there's a pretty decent pool of people getting into the semifinals. And so that was semifinal number 1, and we can go through it. Perhaps the biggest casualty of the first heat was Cisse from Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast. I don't know how many people saw that coming. I'm not quite sure if he was coming in with an injury. I don't remember. Maybe All in the Game or someone on the live could tell me. But he is probably the biggest casualty there. And then on the second heat featured the big names there. So we saw Noah Lyles, who is getting rightly so a lot of hype. He's all over the place. Peacock is doing a series on him, I think. I haven't seen any of it. Has anyone watched the Lyles documentary? I've heard about it. In fact, he was advertising it when the American broadcasters forgot to show us the Tobago race, but let's not get into that. And we also saw Ferdinand Omanyala. So this was into a slight headwind. And, Lyles takes it in 9.95 over Omanyala, 9.97. I still think Lyles' start is problematic. I know they've been working hard on it, but it takes a long time to get into it. Potentially pops up too quickly, but you can tell me. And Omanyala, I thought, looked good. Probably more comfortable than Lyles in that race. He was out there, probably slightly a little bit too fast, especially when you think about how competitive the next rounds will be, and we'll talk about that as well. But he started to back off, coming in second in 9.97. I think if you're Omanyala, you feel good about the race. Likewise, I think if you are Lyles, you feel good, but you know that you have to get the first part of the race sorted out. Otherwise, you have to do a lot of hard running. And, third goes to the Nigerian guys. The Nigerian guys haven't been having a lot of great championships coming in. They've lost a few, and we can talk about Favor Ashe as well. And, coming in 10-17. And, nothing from the Italian Sha'Carri. I wasn't expecting much either. And so that's heat 2. Your thoughts on it, let me know. And then if we move into the third heat, also no wind there. And, the US champion turned up, but all the suggestions of him being hurt turns out to be true. And you have to feel bad for Charleston because the kid doesn't have a sponsor. The kid did well. I think Alan Johnson did a fantastic job in preparing him for the national trials. He wins the national championships in the USA. And clearly something happened to him. But he also turned up. He couldn't find any acceleration when he needed it. But he did perform and finished 5th, 10.18. So you have to imagine that if he wasn't hurt, he would have done better. But Victor Teboju from the Netherlands, Amo Dadzi from Great Britain in second. It looks like he ran a little bit hard for me. And Matedi, only the top 3 went through, right? So that's 10.09, 10.10, and 10.13. And everybody else didn't make it through. In heat 4, we had, the exciting Let's-See Tobago. He took the race in a close race, 10-11 over Browning of Australia at 10-11 as well. And Reese Prescott from Great Britain, who I think All in the Game was telling me was sent home from the relay camp, which I still haven't looked through yet, but that's also intriguing. And only the top 3 here went through. Heat 5, okay, that's where the fireworks in Heat 5. We saw Oblique Seville and the defending champion Fred Curley squaring off. Got a lot of questions here. Want to hear from you guys on this one. So, Seville, prior to the national championships in Jamaica, I'd spoken to a couple of people. And the expectation was that Seville was supposed to be in better shape than even Zarnell. But he had been suffering from some niggles. And he barely makes the team for Jamaica. And then he turns up at the World Championships and equals his PB in a time of 9.86 seconds. Why? I have a lot of questions for this, right? Why is he running that fast? And there's two ways to think through this, and before you start screaming at me. Two ways to think through this. There's times when an athlete comes to a major championship and they're fit and ready, the peak is in full form, that they just can't help it. They get out there and the body is just moving. And if that's what's happening, then I'm very excited. Is he in such a great shape that the body is just flying and then we're going to see something spectacular? I hope that's the case. And the second one, obviously, and the one that most people tend to point to, is the management of the rounds. So did he run too fast and not run to instruction? You tell me. But that was spectacular. Fred Curley looked fairly good as well in second, unbothered. I think Curley has a lot in the tank. You saw that little tete-a-tete with him and Noah Lyles. And he's determined that whatever time Noah runs, he's going to run faster. I put it to you, maybe Noah is not the guy you need to worry about. I know there are people who are telling me, putting on comments saying that Lyles is going to run 9.5. Lyles cannot run 9.5. I'm just, that's never going to happen. Favor Ashe, DQ. What's happening there? Did he do it on purpose? It looked to me. But I need to talk to DJs right there in Nigeria. Not in Nigeria, it's in Budapest, so I could get a better sense of what's going on. But I like this. I like that all in the game. No, I ain't running 9.75, let alone 9.65. There are some people out here with some ridiculous talk, and I just really don't know what's going on. Who has mental issues? Kim on. Who are you referring to? Is that Favor Ashe you're talking about, or are you talking about someone else? I know there's some other comments here. Let me get a couple of them. What is this? Her drifting was deliberate. She wanted to make things difficult for Segaya, and she bounced into herself. Yeah, I mean, but at that point, though, if we were gonna just go back quickly on the 10,000 meters, I mean, she was in a good position there. Just hold the form and go to the line. If Segaya passes her, she passes her. She was already over on the other side. She's kind of looking to the left, so I don't really know. Yeah. So we'll see. All right, yeah. So we'll get, what is this? St. Clair Hollywood always want a piece of top. Anyways, want a piece of top athletes. The athletes end up spreading themselves too thin, and up underperforming in their primary event. Who you referring to here? Is that to Noah Lyles and the documentary stuff? We'll see. Oh, you think Seville has an issue here? Interesting. I don't. Well, it's hard for me to say that yet. Reason why I'm going to say that, because Oblique Seville is in his third major championship. The first one he went to, there's no expectation. And you have to remember that year when Glenn Mills gets him from high school, there's some things they have to build up. He has some injuries that they had to work on, and he gets into the semifinal of the Olympics. Then he goes to the World Championships in Oregon, and he comes fourth. I thought he would have gotten on the medal table. He didn't. And then I thought this year is for him. Then clearly suffering from some injuries. And now he opens up with 10.86 PB. I do hope this means that he's going to run, at least equally run this in the other couple rounds. Because otherwise, what's the point? And I'm not yet going to say he has that kind of issues yet. And also, I don't think Oblique Asafa came into major championships as favorite before, so we'll see. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. All right. Okay, so let's go through the other few heats, and then we can take some more comments. Thanks everyone for joining me. I see the live is hotting up a little bit. Don't forget to put your comments and your thoughts on what happened today. What's the most exciting thing for you today? What are you looking forward to see tomorrow? Anything you want to talk about? Things that happened in the morning session, we can rehash that again, and all the stuff that happened this evening. Heat 6, negative 0.1. Sane Brown, nice and easy. I like the kid. We know he has a lot of talent. Probably has ceiling as well in terms of how fast he can go. Rowan Watson from Jamaica looked good too. I think he has a lot in the tank. I think he's doing a proper round management here, probably running on instructions. At one point, I wasn't quite sure. But he looks good. I think. I'm not worried yet. First major championship as well. So we have to think about what that means for individuals. First race under his belt. And then to my surprise, and I don't know if you're surprised as well, we get the Olympic champion. You couldn't have told me he was going to show up, but he did. Lamont Marcel Jacobs shows up, and he comes third, and he qualifies. Runs 10.15. Clearly nowhere near his best, but decent to see the Olympic champion here. I think Jacob is an egg. He's very fragile. He gets injured a lot, and we'll see what happens. I think All in the Game is saying Jacob's not making it out of the semifinals. I agree. Japan getting a medal. And the Envision says Japan has 3 runners running 10x. What's their relay chances? I think as we know, the Japanese, when they are at their best in terms of the relay camps, they have some of the greatest baton exchanges. They often do the upward one, I think. I'm not sure if they're changing on that, but they execute well. I think Japan will be on the medal table. It's a very strong chance. They know how to get the stick around. If they've had mishaps in the past as well, but if they do it well, I think they're likely to get a medal. So I think there's chances for that pretty strong. I'll get to this later on, All in the Game. I think you're right on that. And going into the last heat, we have a great start, a fantastic start from Christian Coleman. I don't think I've seen a start like that in a long while from him. Then Simbini takes him down, looks good. But if Coleman is starting like this, he might be in business. I'm not quite sure about Coleman's speed endurance. I don't know what your people's thoughts on this, but I think Coleman is struggling a little bit. Thank everybody for joining me. We're now at the stage of discussing the 100-meter heats. If we've joined us, you can go back at some point. Let me know where you're joining me from as well, and your major performance for the day. But Coleman looked decent. I have to say, I've not been impressed by him this season, or potentially since he came back from the whereabouts violation. But he got out to a flyer. Simbini came down on him, 997, 998. And then Archibald, the kid from Guyana. I think it's not really a kid, but the Guyanese runner running in the prelim to make it into the semifinal. I think that's good to see. That probably is what I suppose the likes of a Sebastian Coe or the organizers who say we should have something like that to encourage athletes so they can get into that stage of the competition. I'm not sure I like it, but whatever. And so that's what we have for the heats of the men's 100 meters, which sets us up nicely for the semifinal stage. So in a second here, I'm just going to pull up some of the draws for the semifinals for day 2, which is in the evening session tomorrow. And forgive me, I have to take a look as well on my iPad because we'll put it up on the screen as well. But just to make sure I have everything again. And we see the likes of Lyles and Ferdinand Omanyala, and I can just bring this over a little bit here, in the same heats, in the same semifinal. Also, Rowan Watson, the Jamaica national champion, is there. Likewise, Amodadzi from Great Britain. But I think the bulk of the running, and Sonny Brown is there too. I suspect the bulk of the running is going to come from Omanyala, the Olympic champion, as well as in this race. But as All in the Game said earlier, I agree with you. I don't think Marcel Jacobs gets out of the semifinal unless he's basically saving up something that we don't know about. But for not running for that long, suffering from that many injuries, I can't see it. I'm not quite sure Sonny Brown can make it into the semifinal. So what we'll see for the 3 semifinals, first 2, as you know, and the 2 fastest losers, or the 2 fastest qualifiers, we have to say, no, we no longer say losers. We'll see some guys in the queue room. I suspect the queue room will be changing a lot. So you have to really run hard. And as I mentioned, I think in my preview last week, I think we will get some athletes running probably their finest in the semifinal, because you have to run really hard to get into that final. I have Watson as the surprise athlete, so hopefully he turns up and don't dent my predictions. But we'll see what Omanyala is made of. He talks a big game. Last year he came to the World Championship late. Now he's here. He's running fast all season, albeit a lot of that in altitude. So let's see what happens. And then semifinal number 2 is also an interesting one as well. Probably the weaker of the 3. I don't know. You tell me. Before I go into semifinal 3, let me get what All in the Game. Could Noah not make it out? He certainly could not make it out, I think. You have to get a good start. If he doesn't get a good start, he could be in trouble, because I think Omanyala is pretty quick. He'll get out well. If Watson runs well, you could be in problems. So you have to really run hard, I think. But if they say that Noah is running some super fast times and it's the fastest we've ever seen, then he should make it out. At least somewhere in as a fastest qualifier. I would think. Your thoughts on that? What are you thinking All in the Game? Or what? And make sure anybody else can tell me what they're thinking. But in semifinal number 2, you have the likes of Simbini again, Coleman, Raheem Ford, Zarnell Hughes, who I believe is on course to find his way on the medal podium. But he has to start a little bit better than he did in the first in his heat. But I think Zarnell has a lot in the tank. Very smooth. And I believe that he could make it out and do something on the medal podium. So this is a tough race as well. I think Christian will get out really fast if he's starting the way he is. And, I think Zarnell probably will win it. I don't know how fast Simbini will go. This year, Simbini has gone 991. I can't remember where did Simbini run this 991. I have to check again if anybody knows. But Zarnell certainly 983, fastest of the year. I think Coleman ran a 991 this year as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Simbini is 992, sorry. So we expect to see some good running there. And then in the third and final heat, semifinal, we have Oblique Seville, who comes out super fast. A Fred Curley. I don't know why they're repeating all these guys in the same. I know it's the draw. It's not anybody putting them in it. There's Fred Curley, there's Seville, there's Letsile Tobogo. Those are the 3 guys that are going to, for me, move the semifinal. I don't expect much from Boujou from the Netherlands. I think that might be stopping point. I don't know what Reese Prescott can do. I just don't really know what he'll do there. I suspect he's going to be out on the bubble. But even Tobogo, he may have to watch and wait. I think if Seville is in the kind of form he looks like he's in, then I expect him and Fred Curley to go through. But these individuals have to run hard. You have to run really hard to earn your spot into that final. You can't. I don't think you want to wait on times. But I suppose if you're in the third semifinal, then you'll be able to know. You will know what time you need to run to be on the bubble. And so we'll see what happens. But it's all making its way up for an exciting semifinals. Dare I say it, maybe the semifinals might be more exciting than the finals. Maybe I'm overthinking that. But your thoughts here. Let me get to some comments. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I think I see a lot of people coming on the live. Don't forget to put your thoughts in. If you have to catch up, certainly do so. And if you're joining me on a rebroadcast or later on, once you get your comments up, I'll definitely respond after the live as well. But if you put them in now, I'll definitely respond now as well. What is all in the game saying here? This is good practice for Zarnell's first 40 against Coleman. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Hi, Gnome Point. Thanks for joining tonight. Jamaica up and running. Are you excited about this? I think you may mean it in the context of the 100-meter men. Your thoughts on what happened today in the mixed relays, in the heats? We talked about it earlier on the first live, but I'm happy to talk about it again. Yeah. Did I miss anything from anybody? I appreciate everybody coming on tonight. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you find value, do it. If you don't find value, then don't do it. But if you want to be a part of this conversation, and as we move forward, hit that little notification bell that YouTube has. It will let you know when we go live or when we drop videos. And I have a lot of videos for you as well. So thank you everyone so far for joining me. So I think that's where the 100-meter is. I think if I think about it, just to recap it, I expect Seville and Curly and even Tobago to qualify. I think they will know. Everyone in the third heat will know what happened before. And if it means that these guys have to run super fast to get into that final, I think they'll do it. Heat 2, I would like to be in Heat 2 if I was running. Well, I'm not running, but if I'm looking at these guys, I think Heat 2 is the one that you would say it's still wide open. I think Zarnell should, if he runs really well, can get onto that position. If Zarnell is looking around, he has to be happy that he has Coleman and Simbini, and not necessarily a Seville, a Fred Curly, and an Omanyala, right? So that's going right. All right, so things looking good. I think Kimon is saying what he's saying. Everybody always looks good in the rounds until a semi. Part of it is how it works, right? You have to start putting yourself up and moving forward, and the competition is there. I think there's no outstanding 100-meter athlete in the sense that no one, as much as we are talking about Fred Curly, he could not. He's in the same position as everybody. Fred hasn't done anything to say to tell us that he's a cut above the rest this year, if we're being honest. And so it's as wide open as I can remember. I can't quite recall the last time. I guess Tokyo was wide open as well. But in the post-Usain Bolt era, you can't really predict this 100 meters. Like, confidently predict it, or go to your betting shop if you want to think, if you want to put it this way, right? So that's where we are. All right. So thanks everyone so far, and it's good to have you on the live. And so we can get back into it if you want. Let's move into the field events. I've been giving the track a lot of love. Let's go quickly, and we can talk a little bit about men's discus. Men's discus, as you know, the automatic qualification was 66.50. Nobody did that. But we have the likes of Stahl at 66.25, Alekna at 66.04, Che at 65.95, Travis Michael from Jamaica at 65.71. Two Jamaican athletes are into the final of the men's discus. If we go with the summary, I think this is Group A, and then in Group B we have something else. But this is where we are, and I don't know. 66.5 is not always easy to get, but it should be relatively good. I still think that the likes of Che, Stahl, and Alekna could find their way on top of the podium if they find form. I think all of those guys have gone 70 and above this year, if I'm not mistaken. At least two of them have, and so it's gonna be exciting, right? It's gonna be exciting. So men's discus, is one of those events that I like. I think what's his name from Jamaica, was the only Jamaican that didn't make it was Stone, I think, or whatever his name is, Stoner. And yeah, so most of the people we expected to qualify did. Let me get back to a couple comments before I continue. Well, at least All in the Game has one here. Not gonna lie, will laugh my ass off if Lies doesn't make it to the final. Well, at least I don't know. I don't know if I'll take great pleasure, but I know what you're saying. I definitely know what you're saying. What I will say about Noah Lyles is that they're building this up. They're building up a world record in the 200 meters, which I'm not saying is impossible. I'm just saying it's not possible after running rounds in the 100 meters and the kind of way he runs the 100 meters to do. And he'll have to run really hard. And then moving on from that to run rounds in the 200 meters and then to say you're going to break 1919. I can't see it. Where is he finding 2 meters from? I was trying to explain this to someone today offline, and I was saying to myself, like, Lyles is at a 1931. I suspect he can run faster than that. And on a good day, you could run 1920. But, to get that world record and to go, that's like a 2 meter on him already. So he has to make that up and run faster. And I'm not convinced yet. I'm not saying I don't want to see the record go. I don't think Usain Bolt would mind. He's not there. You didn't break it when he was running. And world records are made to be broken. It's benchmarks. And I think Noah is setting up himself to have a wonderful career over 200 meters. Already, back-to-back world champion, going for his third. Hasn't won an Olympic title yet. Have to do that to be in the conversation. I don't think Noah can ever eclipse Usain Bolt's dominance over the 200 meters. No one can do it right now. Potentially a Let's See Tobago if he starts winning. Potentially a Aaron Knighton. But Bolt is way out there on the 200 meters, and it just doesn't. You don't make it. There's a lot you have to do to come close. But that's just me on a rant. We can do it another day. Let's quickly go through some other things before we get out of here. Back to the heptathlon. I think All in the Game had an interesting comment here. We might be able to put it back up about the hep. Right now, we have 3 women over 3,000. Anna Hall is leading at 3,998, almost 4,000 points. And Catherine Johnson Thompson is in the mix at 3,905, and Hawkins at 3,900. And so it's still good competition. If we do a summary, I can bring over the summary real quickly. Here we see, after 4 events, I have to say I'm not as excited as I normally am. And also, I haven't been watching all of the individual performances on it. And I need to go back and look at some of these things. But, I was building up for what was a very close run to the Jackie Joyner Curser world record. No Nafitayam. So that's unfortunate as well. But Hall is doing well, and clearly Hall is not at her best. She spoke about that early this morning in the morning session when she crashed out at 1 meter 83. She couldn't, crashed out at 186. She couldn't make it up to 186. And but she's doing well, and we'll see there's more events to come, and they'll finish off tomorrow. But I think Hall should win barring any injuries, but it's good to see Johnson Thompson in the mix, and there's Hawkins, Brooks, to see what they can do. I thought Noor would have been doing a little bit better, but that's what happens. But let's talk triple jump. Triple jump, we can go through the results really quickly. We can do a summary of the results. As you know, 7 meters 15 automatic qualification. Only Jaden Hibbert, the Jamaican youngster, we have to say the prodigy. Can we say that? Managed to get over it. A massive 770 jump on his second attempt, I believe. Way, way out there. I think the final will be exciting. And I think the kid has a big shot at medaling. Definitely a big shot at winning. It's first world championship, so we have to take that into consideration. But one thing we know about Jaden is a big time performer, and I would love to see it. Zoo is there, Martinez is there, Zango is there. So all the big names that we know coming into this world championships are still in the mix. And once they get the good jumps, you never know what can happen. Competition is missing. Pichardo, as we know, absent. But if Jaden can go out there and make a massive jump, we'll see. I remember watching one of those, I think there was World Athletics did a thing with him. I think they asked when he will get the 18-meter jump, and he says maybe at the World Championships. Can he find that? I think if an individual jumps 18 meters, they'll definitely win. I think you could definitely win this try. You could medal. I think 1770 can medal. You want to be sure to be in the 1780 range to make sure. If anybody gets, if Jaden can jump 18 meters, which would be a big jump for, how old is he? 18? That would be something special. Let's see what comments there. All in the game. Will he finally use all 6 jumps in the final? Here's what he needs to do. He needs to get off a really good jump in the first round and put pressure on those guys. That's what try to get a massive jump out there. If he does that, then you start to put significant pressure there. 9 and 12, no business in the final. I know, I agree with you as usual. It's just only making things longer. Just go straight into it, get over with it. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm excited for this. I think it's a chance for the kid to do something. But Martinez from Cuba is still there, Zango and Zoo, and you never know what can happen. And then the men's 1500 meters was really looked good. I think Jakob looked good. Ingebrigtsen looked really good. Josh Kerr in their heat. I don't think they were running with anybody else in that heat. I think it was really easy for them. I think most of the principles are there. I was looking through to see if anybody that we were surprised that didn't make it through, and I couldn't really look off the top of my head when I was doing the summers. I watched all the race. One of the things about when you have just automatic 6 qualifying, it kind of gets less excited in terms of watching people on the bubble. But I do like that you just do top 6 or top 5, depending on what event it is. Because when you get into these big distance race running, the calculation and the race strategy is just too much for a first run, I think. And so I'll expect nothing less. I think most of the principles are there. I think Jakob is setting himself up to run something super fast. Can he get close to the world record? Ikamel Garouge's world record? I don't know. But that record has been on the books for a while. It would be nice to see it. But we'll see. I think a lot of athletes are running well, and but nothing special. I think it's just general good qualification and so on. This morning when I talked about the long jump, I never realized how many important people that missed out in the women's long jump. I forgot. We lost Jasmine Sawyers. I think we lost Beth Roman-Chuk. I did talk about Burks this morning. So the championships. Some people were expected. We'll see. But yeah, let's get to some more of your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are and what's going on. You think championship record for who? For Jaden? Is it possible? Isn't the championship record the world record? Is that 9? Unless I'm misinterpreting what you're talking about. Because the championship record is the world record, because Edwards did it in Gothenburg, right? I remember that vividly. Unless I think I'm misinterpreting what you're talking about. All in the game. So that was those big performances today. Tomorrow we're looking at some really exciting things. I think all in the game. You had brought up something about where was Rasheen in the mixed 4x4. Oh, you mean for Jakob? Yeah, definitely. I think it's possible for a championship record. Yeah. World record. Not so sure. I think he needs more people to push him for a world record. But yeah, let's look quickly at some of the other things for tomorrow. I think just to finish that point, I don't not all in the game. I think this morning you had asked where was Rashid uh, in that mixed 4x4. Clearly, he should have been running because he's not running the individual events. When we looked at the start list, they still have Barnes in the start list for tomorrow. And I want to touch on a couple of things if you want to. I mean, if you don't want to, that's also certainly fine. But tomorrow we're looking at a number of events. And day 2 in the morning, obviously, we have the 20-kilometer race final for women. There's qualifications for discus. Then it starts off with the 400-meter heats, long jump for heptathlon, 400-meter heats for men. So we'll get to see the likes of Stephen Gardner, the likes of Wade Van Niekerk. There's discus, obviously, I mentioned that as well. And men's 400-meter hurdles as well. I'm very excited to see that. I think that's very competitive. Dos Santos is around. We'll see Varham. We'll see the kid from Jamaica. We'll see Masters. We'll see Rai Benjamin. That's one of the big events coming up. And then obviously there's the 100 meters for women. We'll get to see the great Shelly-ann Fraser-Pryce. We'll see Sha'Carri Richardson. We'll see Sharika Jackson. All of these people, I think it's going to be very, very exciting come tomorrow. And obviously semifinals and finals of the men's 100 meters in the evening. Yeah. So, let me know your thoughts. I mean, anything you're surprised by this week? Anything, you're looking forward to seeing tomorrow you want us to break down? If not, we don't have to. But I think the opening day of the World Championship served us something well. It was good to see it. Big shockers for Sifan Hassan, as we touched on the top of the hour. Likewise for the mixed 4x4. But lovely to see Krauser back, especially with this, suffering from blood clots. And so I look forward to seeing what's happening tomorrow. I get a few more comments. Let's see what people during the morning session will be watching the Women's World Cup final, especially in England and Spain. Yeah, it's going to be, there's just so much things to watch in sports, I will have it on myself, I think I want to go to my bed early so I can get up and watch a few things, watch the morning session. The beauty about these things is that you can actually, watch them on replay. But I like to see them live. I did wake up this morning to watch the race walk, which I then fell asleep again on. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to the events tomorrow. I think it's going to be exciting. We should expect some medals tomorrow, depending on where your allegiance lie. If you had to do it, and it's too early to do it, but I don't know if any of your predictions have changed for the 100 meters. Mine hasn't yet, except that Seville looks really interesting. Initially, before this year started, I thought Seville would come and deliver big time. But then the injuries occurred and he was in and around 10 flat. And now he runs a 986. That to me is the biggest shocker for the day. And I hope that's just not him running fast too early and him setting up himself to run something spectacular. But the World Championships is alive and well. We look forward to some stellar performances tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And on your way out, hit that like button for sure and share this with a friend if you want them to engage. Everybody wants a space to talk, track, and feel, and I'm offering it because I like to do it. And I hope that you enjoyed spending some time with me on this live, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Get some rest wherever you are in the world, and if you're joining on a rebroadcast, make sure you put your stuff in the comments, and I'll get to them. But hopefully one good day leads into another spectacular day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of the evening. Bye-bye.